Good afternoon from London. It's a bleak December afternoon here. Yes, December has arrived. And hello to all dear comrades, friends and supporters from Dr. Dermot Hudson, the chairman of the British Group for the Study of the Juche Idea, chairman of the Korean Friendship Association of the UK, an official delegate to the Korean Friendship Association for the UK, president of the Association for the Study of Sangam Politics of the UK, and also owner of this channel, Sangam 007. And I'm going to speak a bit today about Twitter censorship. I'm sure many of you would have seen on Twitter the news about my personal Twitter account, Juche0071, and the official KFA UK Twitter feed. What's happened is they've been banned in South Korea. Yes, they've been banned in South Korea. Twitter have done this themselves. Allegedly or supposedly because of quote-unquote legal demand. It's just presumably come from the South Korean puppet regime. Some people have said, probably an employee of the South Korean National Intelligence Service, the NIS, probably sent Twitter a notification telling them to ban my own Twitter feed in South Korea and that of KFA UK, basically to stop South Koreans knowing the truth about people's Korea. And of course, goes without saying that this reflects very badly on Twitter. In fact, that's an understatement. It, in fact, shows that Twitter censor accounts. We've had all this fine talk from Elon Musk, he's taken over Twitter about free speech, and he's opened up Twitter to various fascists and racists who were previously banned. Yet my own account gets restricted in one country at the request of the reactionary authorities in that entity. I should say, shouldn't have referred to South Korea as a country, because it's not a country, it's an entity. It is a puppet regime that was set up by the Yanks in 1945 on the soil of Korea, which had been liberated from Japanese imperialism. But anyway, Twitter should be totally ashamed of themselves. They're taking orders from a tin pot fascist puppet regime. And of course, what this shows is that South Korea is in fact fascist and repressive. And there's been attempts over the years to try and present South Korea in a different light, and in fact even some people just described South Korea as simply being authoritarian or a bit authoritarian, but it is actually a fascist regime. The mainstream media have tried to sort of promote the false narrative of democratization of South Korea in the 1980s, but this is not true. What you got in South Korea was a shift from military fascist rule to civilian fascist rule, and many of the repressive institutions, the institutions of the South Korean puppet regime remained totally intact. The national security law, which bans any support for the DPRK or any kind of leftist ideology, remains in force in South Korea. And of course, the national security law in South Korea is actually based on a law when the whole of Korea was a Japanese colony. So really, they're carrying over the legacy of Japanese imperialism and the legacy of Japanese fascism in South Korea. And also, the National Intelligence Service still exists, and that used to be, in years gone by, it was the Korean Central Intelligence Agency, the KCIA, appropriately named, copying the Americans, and later that became the Agency for National Security Planning, and say its present incarnation is the NIS, the National Intelligence Service, which is basically a repressive organisation which engages in surveillance of South Korean citizens, both in South Korea and abroad, as well as carrying out anti-DPRK operations of one kind or another. And a big function of the NIS is, of course, propaganda. The NIS create fake stories, fake news about people's Korea, which is often released through media outlets, or so-called media outlets, like NK News and the Daily NK, and then goes into the mainstream media. The South Korean NIS bribe a lot of Western mainstream media journalists to carry anti-DPRK stories. That's the reason why there's so much anti-DPRK propaganda in the Western mainstream media. But, to get back to the main subject, Twitter are basically helping the South Korean puppet regime censor news about the DPRK and any criticism of the South Korean puppet regime. Previously, we've had trouble with Facebook. They slapped restrictions on our KFA UK page for nearly 2 months, and also were trying to heavily censor it, were removing pictures from DPRK news outlets on it. The page is now back to normal, but we don't know how long for. As I've said before, we're developing Telegram as an alternative, and also using VK.com and Discord. But, at the end of the day, all the so-called talk about democracy, freedom and free speech in the imperialist countries is just a load of old rubbish. Who the hell elected Elon Musk? No one. Who the hell elected Mark Zuckerberg? No one at all. And, the same goes for the likes of, Richard Branson and all these other detestable people. But anyway, I will not be silenced by Twitter, nor will KFA UK, and we will continue our work. And so, to conclude, please give us your support. You can obviously follow us on Twitter and on Facebook, and and also this YouTube channel. So thank everybody for listening today. If you're not already a subscriber to the channel Songam 007, please consider subscribing. And to our affiliated channel, Korean Friendship Association of the UK. And you can support us in various different ways. We do have a publishing program. We've published a number of books, lot by myself, but some by other authors, some collectively written. I will put a link in the description. Also, it's very important to support our events. We've got an online event coming up on the 13th of December, and next year we plan a couple of events, real life events as well as online events. A picket of Facebook has been mooted, and also a picket of the South Korean Puppet Embassy, so please watch this space. Anyway, it just remains for me to wish you all a great day and see you again. Goodbye.